Alright, welcome to my channel. Um, my name is Woba, and today I am going to be starting a little bit of a journey. So, I've been playing Smite for about since season 2 or so, and quite honestly, I know a bit more than I should. I mean, I've spent a lot of time on this game, and I mean a lot of time. I've been playing since I was a Box Boy back in season 2. Then I switched over about 2 years ago to PC, never looking back. But either way, I have a job opportunity coming up, and it's not looking like I'm going to be able to play a lot of Smite afterwards. So what I want to do is I want to put out a little bit of a knowledge base because I've noticed that in my ranked games, I took about 4 months off, and then we come back, and there's that hard reset. And now I really see it where, like, even people that are mechanically skilled at the game just don't know how to transition into objectives and how to transition that into towers and things like that. And so I want to kind of do a super basic overview, and then I want to work my way up. And, like, about a perennially diamond player or so, and I'm hoping that I can pass enough knowledge over that some of you guys can be if you're finding this channel. I mean, I hope it's finding you well, and yeah, let's get right into it. I'm kind of freeballing these because it's 3 in the morning and my kid's asleep, and I want to do a little bit of talk about what we're looking for as a mage because we're talking mainly about mid. I play mid. I like mid, big numbers, shiny objects. It's got everything you want. So the primary source of our mid pool is going to be mages. You will have some hunters in there. I'm not going to say you won't. We'll talk about it when we get there. Other than that, you're going to see that not all the mages are viable there. You're also going to see, like, oh, my buddy plays Terra mid or some shit like that. Like, no, we're not doing that. That's a different conversation. That's for if you're just skill diffing somebody. Totally different, or maybe it's a competitive strat. I don't know. My Terra mid last year, kind of nutty, to be honest, but we don't go there. So, why don't we start off plain and simple? What are you looking for? What do you want to do? Do you want to pressure your lane? Because if you want to pressure your lane, you're probably going to go with somebody like Vulcan. You're probably going to go with somebody like Soul, who just puts you in the tower. You want to get high burst damage. You're going to go like the classic is Poseidon. Poseidon Kraken will do most of your health bar at all times, if not all of it. So, what are you looking for is the really important thing when you're picking your god. Like, there's some niche picks where they're not going to be as viable unless you have X, Y, and Z. So, we want to focus, like, first off, why don't we just focus on lane pressure? Lane pressure is going to be king in a lot of these scenarios. That's why you see gods like Ra are viable right now because, I mean, the guy doesn't have an escape. What he has is phenomenal, though. He's got movement speed. Movement speed always good. Guy has the movement, if you will. From there, long range. 80 range, long range. And it's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to do a lot of damage. 335 base plus 100% of your power. You're getting up there in power with these mages. You're going like what? Probably bare minimum 600 area, and you're getting like 900 damage. That's not a bad day for your one. Gets a little bit of self peel, gets a healing with protections, mind you, with protections. You are protecting your team and giving them magical power. He's got a lot going on. And then the ult. The ult is just quintessential mage, low cooldown though, and it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you hard. It's going to snipe you if you're not looking and you're not hearing that audio cue. Um, so yeah, he's able to play safe. He's able to use these two particularly as very long range abilities. 120 is insane. This is your Fire Giant Steel. This, I mean, early game right now with the map the way it is, I'm probably just using this on Bastions because it has a low cooldown and I'll kill yours. I'll get a little gold. Gold is basically experience points in the sense that you get the experience of having Book of Thoth first or having whatever high power item before the person. And that's pretty good. I got to be honest. That's pretty good. So Ra's one of my favorites and I will talk about him from time to time. Um, as you see here, I mean, pros you're going to see high sustain and pusher. He is that exactly. If you want somebody that's going to sustain your lane more, I mean, sustain you in team fights, hell, toxic healer is what it is. Healers are good at times, healers are bad at times, but they're usually pretty good. And hell is one of the ones that when they find their way really good, you're gonna have a bad time. She's got a lot of buttons to press and you got a lot to learn, but honestly, there's just not going to be people that keep your team as well stocked as a Hell does. Ra does a great job, but Hell's insane. Um, from there, what do we want to be looking at? Things like if you're newer, you want to look at damage that you can easily secure. Ra, I love to learn because everybody has Ra. Everybody loads into the game. This is a free god. He's got straight lines. You just got to learn where to stand. Gods that you can get for pretty cheap. Agni. Agni is one of those quintessential confirmed damage gods. Um, he does require a little bit more inner workings than Ra, where you have to use this one here. Oh, they give us a Visio now. That's nice. So what happens? You can put that down. If you use any of his other abilities, it will ignite it and they'll stun. So that's super nice. And that allows him to peel for himself. He has a dash. That's very good for safety. And then this, once you hit level 5, this is the only button you're pressing 90% of the time. You're going to put it down on people. It's going to do a lot of damage. You're going to support your team very well by hiding behind walls and just being a general menace to society. Um, it depends a lot on what items are good, but right now we're just talking bare minimum overtones. What else could you be looking for? You could be looking for high mobility. High mobility is going to be in the sense of something like Poseidon has good mobility with his movement stem being insane. You have gods like Raijin who have a good escape. They can get in, get out. Vulcan has pretty good with his passive granting you movement speed as well. Um, he's able to sneak around a good bit. And then most important gods that we're going to be talking about with mobility, you have the Morrigan. The Morrigan, she's not in my wheelhouse, but I see why she's good. She gets the most buff, I would say, from competitive play because you really need to orchestrate around the fact that she's got a lot of close range situations going on right now. Like this ability has no range, so you got to be Mr. Sneaky Sneaky and get in very close. And if you're a mage, mages have lower health. That's going to hurt you. So you need really comms to get that working well, in my opinion. But then you're also going to have gods like Janus. And Janus ult can teleport your entire team to the base. Um, so if you look behind the Ymir, there's a little portal there. Your entire team can go through that portal and just base race, win the game. Um, with that said, what is good perennially and what is good in specific situations? Perennially good is going to be that lane pressure, a little bit of poke gods. Those are going to be very good. So that's where you're looking at like Agni can be consistently good. Discordia can be consistently good. She has a great clear with her 1 and her 2. Her 2 is great for poking, especially if you get that CC off, brings people together for the 1. Eset, quintessential lane push. Her 1, if it doesn't get silenced, you're basically golden. Like, that's going to beat anybody in the lane, and it's going to be a bad time. From there, you could also be looking like Merlin. Merlin has more abilities than everybody else, so he gets to push pretty well. Morgan Le Fay, she's more poke. That's a different conversation. Nuwa can lane push depending on where the situation is and what items are good. I would say Ra, Raijin, Vulcan, Soul, and Zeus. Yu Huang too, but here, why don't we switch gears and we will talk more in depth about what we will talk more in depth about. There we are. There we are. We'll talk more in depth about what's going on with regards to pushing. Like, who's giving us lane pressure? This gives us all the gods, but we will use it for the gods that we want and throw out the rest, right? Nice and simple. Afro. She can use her birds and she can stay safe, but she's not really pushing. Like, she's just kind of there. This is not a reflection of the meta as a whole. This is mainly a reflection of just right now what I mean, this is not a reflection of the meta as of right now because season 10 is going to be very early meta and it's going to be very volatile. People are going to buff, people are going to nerf certain items and certain gods. And so I just want to talk about what their general theming and what their general ability is to do. From there, Agni, I mean, he's like here until he hits level 5, and then he shoots to like here, because he's just going to ult. So most of the game, he's going to spend time there. AMC, I mean, he's not the most safe god. We'll talk about that later, because I want to talk about hunters as a separate kind of entity. Opwatch can definitely put a lot of pressure in lane, but it can be difficult given how he doesn't have an escape. Anubis, similar, like he will clear. He will get the first wave clear, guaranteed, better than most people. Except right now we start at level 2 for our lane clear, so that's a bit of a different conversation. Here, why don't we clean that up a little bit? From there, what are we looking at? Ao Kuang's not really a mage, so we're just going to skip over that for right now. Another one, Baron Samdi, he doesn't really clear well. Like, that's not one of the things. I don't think you're gonna push him into lane into tower. I mean, he's got percentage healing, so he's honestly better off in support many times or solo lane, and that's where you'll find him more often than not. Chang'e, she has two abilities. She has good pressure. Solid A. Like, if you don't get poked out, if you get some cooldown going, you're gonna be in a good time. I would probably just put her B for right now. Kronos, similar. Like, he's got good abilities to clear, but it costs a lot of mana. It's gonna be a bit rough. We'll kind of sort this out. This is my first time I'm doing one of these, so um, we might sort it out a little bit more later on. Disco, her one. Her one is great. It is just, it does the job. Nothing to really be said there. Just try to aim the second portion of the one on the archers that you kill, and those right away. Freya's going to be like C. She is good when her 2 is up, when her 2 is down. Her 2, if you don't know, takes her from a melee god to a ranged god with AoE autos. Super good. But it does in fact have a cooldown. So it's not going to be a great situation all the time. From there, we have Hades. Hades is lane pressure as a character, but he is also not a great mid laner in general. I'm just in the situations where he might be played in mid, like he did spike when Bancrofts got buffed. He will outclear you. That's a given. Hebo. Hebo's lane pressure, not strong. He has to go. He can clear well and he can poke pretty efficiently, but he does definitely need to get a lot closer than most people want to be for more time than most people want to be there. So he could run into some serious issues where he's getting a lot of damage put onto him. Hell is going to push your lane. That's it. We'll talk about SS later. The only ones I'll only talk briefly about people that are guaranteed in, but For right now, I just want to get everybody up and kind of see who's ready to make that jump. Right after we talk about hunters, I think. Um, Hera. Hera is a good god at clearing, but she is not like her hands clear well, but I wouldn't say that they are necessarily the best lane clear in any way. I think it's a pretty middle of the pack lane clear up until you get a lot of power online, and then all of them are going to be clearing. So I would say that she does get two abilities too, though. Like it's the hands and then the polymorph ability, which is a line ability. It's good for poke. It's if you group up the wave, you can hit them, you can poke it. Yeah, B is pretty solid for that. Eset is one of my S tiers for that. She is perennially good for that reason. Like if there's a situation where certain gods are better than others and she can't get stunned or silenced out of her thing, she's going to just press 1 and clear the entire wave. And she's going to do that very early on, and she's going to do that for a very long time. She has to stay up there a little bit longer, but she can also move around. She has mobility. She has added mobility when she's doing it. So I don't think it's too much of a loss, to be quite honest with you. Afterwards, who are we talking about? We are talking about Janice. Janice is high mobility, pretty good pressure. I would say not quite high pressure. Maybe Conduit Gem changes that and he goes into S. Like that's a possibility, but that's not necessarily what I'm focused on right now. I'm focused on um, general things you're looking for with the god, and he's got good pressure after a certain time, but it takes a bit. I'll be honest. From there, I would say that you are going to look to Kukulkan. Kukulkan will clear lane, but he doesn't really pressure because he doesn't have much after that. So he's just kind of AFK farm. AFK farm good. We'll put him at because he consistently clears. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not going to blow your mind. He's just going to put down the tornado. He's going to back up. You jump on him. He puts 1, and that's it. His 1 is a line and it slows. From there, who's next? Merlin, I guess, is next. If I miss anybody, I am sorry. And if you want it, mention it. I don't know. Merlin, good pressure. Like, just nothing really to say about it. He doesn't do quite as well as these gods, I would say, but he does definitely have a higher ceiling when it comes to after those first 2 items, because once he gets a little cooldown going, he's shooting straight up. His stock is rising, especially right now where like you're looking at Archmage's Gem and you're looking at Soul Reaver, but he's just going to proc a lot of on-hit abilities, while his abilities overall are not going to be the highest damaging abilities necessarily. From there, Morgan. Morgan is... Where did I just put her? I put her there by accident. Whoop. I'm going to say it. I don't think she has much lane pressure. Like, she can threaten ganks really well, but if your jungler is not as active, she's not going to have a good time. She needs to be closer to the wave for a good bit of her clearing. She has a good line ability, but, like, I think early, like, first 2 waves, she's going to be about here, and then I think as you go on, she's going to go down. Nox is not a mage. We don't talk about it. She's not a mage. While we're there, why don't we just put that? Because so you know, that's not it. She's better off in support. I want them to rework her, and I want them to turn her bubble into just an opaque ball, so it's just a blind. Like it, I want you to not be able to see through it, and it just block off corridors as well as having people hide in it. That'd be sick to me. And I'd like you to deafen you when you're inside, but take away the silence because I think the silence is way too polarizing. Um, but that's a different thing. That's my little TED talk about her. Keep it moving, and Nua. Press 3, press 1. You're gonna push wave. After that, what are you gonna do? Not much because you're not that mobile. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Poseidon. Poseidon is pretty solid lane clear, I would say. I'd probably put him at the top of this, but right now we're not really ordering this. We're just going through. We'll prune some out afterwards. Raijin. Raijin is going to be SS. Ra is going to be SS. Those, like Ra, you always press 1, it always clears wave. Raijin, you press one, you press two, you're gonna, or you press two, you press one, you're gonna clear wave. His two is a Raiju, it throws it on people, it slows them, and then when you hit him with your one or a basic attack, it activates and it'll just zap along. Well, actually, I think it's any of his abilities. Um, but yeah, it'll zap along. It'll do damage over time. It's just going to make him a bit of a menace. Scylla, average. Her crush does well. She'll probably get more buffs she doesn't really need, or I think they're a little bit antithetical to the character. But you know, she'll get those buffs and she'll probably go up. But for right now and her general mode of being, she's been about here. She'll clear lane and then late game she's a problem. But there we have Soul. Soul will push you under tower and she will just kill your tower for you standing under it. That's your fault and you lose. GG nerd. That's her vibe. Speaking of, that's making me think I missed Olorun. This is not an updated tier list. That's a little bit scuffed. Um, Give me 1 second. Alright, and we are back. So what I've been doing, I've been fixing it up a little bit, catching us up a little bit. Um, I found a more up-to-date one. She's probably going to be a little bit ahead of them. But we're just going to kind of start from wherever because that's on my bad. You know, these are not going to be high edited. I'm just doing them while I have the time. And honestly, right now my time is running out. So, where are we? How can we finish this up? We're going to put that down there. We're going to put that down there. Who else do we want to talk about? Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is new to this list. She is going to be at least at her pots give her the ability to just do that. Like she's going to her pots let her put a we put him up there. We put Raijin up there. And oh god. Sorry, if you can't tell, I am not computer inclined. Like that's just not a thing for me. Where did Poseidon go? He went there. So her pots are her potions. She gets to put these brews together, and they will allow her to throw two of them. She can get up to two of them at the same time, and she can put a lot of pressure out. She can poke with them. She can pretty effectively clear early on by stacking them up. And she just generally will, in metas where it stacks, her stock goes straight up. Like, that's just part of the game. I hope that this is semi-accurate to what I had beforehand. I just want to get this done before I go to work and put it out there so hopefully there's at least a little bit of a guide. Otherwise, who are we talking about? We need to talk about Chiron we'll get to later. Who else is new? Janice I missed in that. He is going to be there. I missed. She's going to be there. Persephone. Persephone is very good at pushing. She gets her flowers. She can harass a good bit. Honestly, yeah, after nerfs and things, like generally I'd say it's probably about an A. Who else we got? Alaron. Alaron's going to be very good at pushing, especially right now where mages are very good. He is going to just allow. I put her up here earlier. He is just going to allow a lot of pressure. He's relatively safe. Like his ult's going to, as long as you play around the alt timer, which is long, admittedly, it's probably the best ult in the game, and you can do quite a lot. You can get away with a lot because of it, but he's going to burn your towers. He's going to be threatening you. He gets free crit, which is pretty neato, if you will. Who else? Scylla, I put A. Yeah, honestly, she might be B. Morgan B. Maybe I put him down there. That's what it was. Otherwise, who are we looking for? Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but I'll have to go through again. Anyway, Tiamat. Tiamat's going to be pretty high up. She just has more abilities. More abilities equals more clear. It's pretty cut and dry there. Um, her one does ramp up pretty astronomically from level 1, so you do have to stay in front of the wave a bit, and you do have to charge it, and you're slower while you charge, I think, or something. No, you're not slower, but it's just you feel pretty vulnerable while you're doing it. So it's not quite like ESET, I would say. I feel better doing ESETs, but that's because she gets added mobility. But it's just on a similar playing field. Um, Otherwise, my Terra mid does go hard, as previously mentioned. Thoth solid A. If he's in a meta where he's good, he's gonna poke you out, and it's going to be a different problem altogether. But I'd say that he's just a solid A. Like he's going to clear pretty well, especially like wherever the nerfs are at with him and whatever's going on. But he's not blowing your mind. He does get free poke. That's about the thing to think about with him. Vulcan is going to be pretty high up because he has that. He has his meatball one combo, which is pretty good. His meatball is going to be poking you. His one is going to be clearing lane on a very short cooldown. And when he does get pressure, he can use it well. Like he's going to put his turret down at the bastion. He's going to take your bastion. He's going to put the turret down at the Gold Fury and walk away. And then his boys are going to come take Gold Fury with his help, and he can ult from halfway into mid lane, and not in mid lane actually, but like XP camp area. He can ult and he can secure a Gold Fury for you. So there's a lot of map pressure overall that comes with him. Who am I missing? Oh, bottom tier mages right here. Yuhong's a little bit newer, but I'd say generally he has two very good clearing abilities. He's fairly safe. He's going to be doing that. He's going to be pushing you in. Zeus always has a strong early clear at least. He might be up here, but we'll discuss that when we get there. His shield's just going to be good. Why don't we finish talking about him before I start somebody new? His shield's going to be very good. His basic attacks are going to clear you quick, and there's not much to it. He gets nerfed a lot, so it's going to be pretty okay. This is a bulky boy. He's going to outclear you. I can't say he's necessarily good in mid, but let that be what it is. That reminds me, I forgot Hades somewhere around here. Hades also going to outclear you. These two are bulky boys. They're probably solo laners, but they can do pretty much all of it. So from there, I want to make this a little bit smaller so that I can fully grasp everything going on. There we go. Now, Hunters mid, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you pretty much the same things. Like, honestly, not the same exact things, but she's basically a Hunter. And so they're going to have a little bit more basic attack damage. They're going to be, you're looking mainly at the Power Pen Hunters here. So, like, AMC is going to push you. He's going to Bluestone proc your wave. He's going to do it twice through his Honey and his B-Ball. And then your wave's going to die very quickly. On her, Apollo, not really in that category. Why don't we just talk about the ones who are in that category, and we'll cover the others a different day, I guess, because I am currently running out of time before work. So, Chiron is quintessential. He's going to press 1, he's going to press 2, he's going to clear your wave. Double proc Bluestone, very good. He also gets his ult. He can poke you out pretty well. So he's got a lot of pressure, a lot of threatening. He can even peel with his one. Fun fact for you, it does cleanse allies, which means they will be CC immune for a very short period of time. And if you time it perfectly, that's getting your buddy out of an Ares ult. That's getting your buddy out of something that he doesn't want to be in. What else would I consider part of that category? I would consider Heim part of that category. I'm not going to say that he always is, but when Power and Pen has been good, he has been able to play mid, so I'm going to put him probably A. Nothing crazy. He can double block Bluestone, and he has good mobility, but he's able to threaten a lot of places at once with his teleporter. And his ult is great for the 1v1 situation. You do miss out on a bit of the AoEs, but that's what it is. AoE being area of effect. If you're new to this whole world, you want big damage in big circles. So that's the most optimal simple way to say it. Hui's not a part of that. Izanami can be, but it's mainly in a basic attack situation, and she's gotten nerfed a few times. So, I mean, early game, she's going to be, like, up here, but late game, she's going to be there. Mid game, she's going to be there. Um, she can pressure gold more effectively than other mids, obviously, because she has that one, which is a basic attack stim that goes crazy and insane, but I wouldn't think too much about it. Neath going to push her lane a bit, but she's just got a good clear. She's going to be able to threaten people with her ult. Her ult goes anywhere on the map and hits anybody on the map. Can be body block, can be Aegis, but it's a very good threat, and if you're building power and penetration, as you should be with these guys, she can go auto attack, but everybody else, it's going to do like 800 damage, and it's going to be a problem. Oh, Morgan Le Fay, I missed her. Oh, no. So, she's a mage. She's got pretty okay clear, though. I would say that she's probably like, I'm going to say low A. Like, she can push pretty well, but it's not anything to write home about. It's definitely not particularly safe, and you're more so just poking people out and grouping up the minions that way. She's more annoying to play against than anything else, really. Medusa is going to be... She's probably B. Like, she doesn't have the same lane clear pressure as these guys, and definitely not as much as these guys, but she is a pretty good mage in that she's got a little bit of a wonkier build, so I wouldn't worry about jumping into these two right away if you're new to mid. But they do offer some pressure. It's not everything you're hoping it will be. Uller has seen some nerfs, but generally speaking, he's got pretty good pressure with his 1 and his 3 in bow stance, both hitting the minions, both proccing bluestone. The 1 in axe stance threatens an axe throw stun, so that's going to be pretty good for you when it looks like you want to create some space by just having somebody have to play around that, have to play outside of that range. You're going to create a lot of space for yourself that way and peel for yourself. And he has a leap, so he's in a pretty good place with that. Who else would I want to consider part of this tier list? Scotty, I would suppose. Scotty is going to have good clear. How much she gets off of the clear is different, but her push is very good. Like, she's going to have her 1 and her 3, and they both proc bluestone. Her 3 gives her movement speed. She's going to be able to push your shit in. If you get a jungler, though, she's probably going to have a bad time. But she can 1v1 like there's no tomorrow, because it's a 2v1, and especially in a situation where you are with a mage. Mages aren't great at basic attacking. You're probably going to be picking something like that into it if you want to avoid getting killed by the dog, but like, mages aren't great at basic attacking, so you don't really have a way of killing the dog effectively because it's going to take 5 hits, and that you don't have 5 abilities unless you're like Merlin and you're going to waste everything on the dog and then you still have somebody to fight. It's just not going to be a great time for you. Lastly, we'll be finishing up shortly. I believe I just have Martikaros. Like, let me take another quick look through. If I'm forgetting anybody, let me know if you want to see something. I'm going to try to do some gameplay coming up soon, but it's really whatever I can get. If I have a game where people are trolling in my ranked, like, I'm not going to be able to show you all that much, and it's going to be unfortunate because I really want to convey as much information as I can over the next like month or two and just kind of get it out there for people so that people can effectively learn. Martikaros, I don't know really because nobody's really played him. Who are we kidding? But he looks like he has 2 abilities. They don't do a ton of damage, and he's got pretty low mobility, but his ult is pretty high, like escape value and also kill confirm. I'm going to put him right here. He's got 2 abilities, and they both proc bluestone. That's kind of my bare minimum, if we're being honest. I want you to be able to proc bluestone effectively. I want you to be able to work the mid lane a bit more. He does benefit from the high power, high pen from what I'm aware of because his basics are essentially bluestone. So yeah, this is just basically solely focused on who gives you lane pressure. This is not who's good. This is not like Zeus would not be this high if this were who's actually good. This is purely who is giving you lane pressure and how well you're going to do in that lane as a result.
like I said, if I miss anything or you want me to talk more in depth on anything, just let me know. I really just want to get as much information out as possible before I have to go away, and I want this to be kind of a resource for people um, to learn the game, because I think there's a lot of streamers out there who can teach you the game at a high level, but they're not teaching you the game at a mid level or a low level, which is where you really need to start. Like, you have a lot of options. Why aren't you picking some Wukong in mid? We need to talk about that. This is generally going to be like beginner friendly. You just want to push wave. Some of these are a little bit more skill intensive gods, so we could talk about that again at a later date. But, leave a comment, tell me what you want to see, and I hope you got something good out of this. We will pick it up tomorrow, hopefully, with some gameplay and see where it goes from there. That said, thank you very much for showing up, and hope you come back next time. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.